Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today I'm going to show you the U-Force working on the Xbox One X. So the U-Force was a controller that came out for the Nintendo Entertainment System at the end of the 1980s, and it was basically a controller where you didn't have to physically press buttons, you just hovered your hand above it in certain locations and then that would correspond to button presses. Now the controller was kind of hated at the time because it was quite expensive and also it was very hard to use. But it's not quite as hard to use as most people would have you believe. So yes, of course, it's not as good as using a controller, but it is just a novelty idea. And remember, this technology now was from 1989, so we're talking a long time ago, and yet it will still work now. I'm going to show you it working on Forza 7. So even on a modern day game, it will work okay. Obviously much harder than a steering wheel or much harder than a controller, but still, nevertheless, still quite a bit of fun. So I hope you enjoy this video. Now, how to set it up. What we have to do is, it's an NES controller. So basically, we have to connect it up to an NES to USB converter like this one here. This is made by Mayflash. So we've got the long lead coming out of the U-Force and it goes into that converter, and then from there it goes into a Cronus Max. And the problem with it is every time I lean over it, it starts doing things on screen, so it's kind of hard. I'm going to end up pressing buttons I don't want to press. But basically it then goes into the Cronus Max there, and that converts it so that the Xbox One can understand it. So hold on now, 1 second, let me just press that there. Right, okay, let me get this started now. So this is going to be Forza 7. Now, how I've got it set up is basically, I've got this sensor down on the right hand side as A, I've got another sensor up here as B. I've got this as right trigger, which is going to be accelerate, I've got this as brake, which is left trigger, I've got this as right, and I've got this as left. So I'm going to be doing my steering by hovering my hands above here, and you need to hover your hands roughly about this much above the sensors. And then I'm going to be doing accelerate and brake from here. And then I've got my home button here, and I've also got select, which will change the view of the driver. So for example, in the cockpit, or whether you're going to see it from a third person's point of view. So let's go to start, and then if I was to hit this one here, you can see that changes the view. Right, okay, let's get going before they all disappear. Now I have to keep moving my hands away, because if I was to keep my hands over the steering, it's just going to keep steering. Right, I caught up with a few there. That's not going to last for long. And it is actually pretty responsive considering now the technology is so old. Now I've only been practicing on this for a few hours, so I reckon if you were to do it for a few weeks or a good month or two, I reckon you could get to the stage where you might possibly win the odd race. Obviously there's not enough buttons on here to be doing gears and stuff, not that I found out anyway, because when I changed those slider switches over on that side, I forgot to mention that it's got slider switches. So in one orientation of switches, the sensors will work on one side, in another orientation the sensors will work at the bottom, and depending on where you put the switches depend on which sensors are live or not. But you get the idea. You can see that it does actually work okay. I'm holding my position there, 20th. I know it's not great, but not too bad. Oh. Ah. Come on. Well, I'm last now. Let's just see if I can get back up to 23rd. Come on. No, no, no. No, it's all gone wrong. I think he's got away. Let's just do a bit of the in-car driving just so you can see what it's like. So yeah, put down in the comments what you think. Does this controller get the hate that it deserves? Because this was voted one of the most hated controllers. But once you bear in mind that it is just, you know, a novelty, then it does work quite well, especially considering now that the technology is about, what's that, about 28 years old? Right, okay, I think we'll leave it there, otherwise the video is going to go on for too long. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I've certainly enjoyed mucking around with the U-Force on Forza 7. So please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. And if you're curious, I've also done a video on the Donkey Kong bongos as well on Forza 7, so please check that one out. There we go, let me quickly show you the slider switches. So basically these are the slider switches here. So if, for example, we wanted this sensor to work and this sensor, then we would move the slider switches. And you can also have this in an upright orientation like that as well. And then, for example, when you did the Mike Tyson boxing game, you would punch over that sensor or punch over that sensor depending on what hand you were using. So you can see, you know, it does work. It's just that it is kind of complicated and obviously it's very hard, but that's half of the fun. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it and please subscribe for more how-to videos. Take care. Bye now.